and turned to me to say, I have to go now. I have to go see the sunset. Hey, Lexi here. Okay, so as a lifelong New Yorker, I know a lot of crazy things can happen here in the city. But today, I want to tell you a story about something I told my best friend that I described as mythical. My best friend Sandra was having a bad day. The kind of bad day you have when your company moves from Manhattan to Brooklyn. And you need to do a lot of moving and setting up yourself over the weekend. And it's Monday, and now you're so tired you wish nap time was instead of lunch break. At some point that day, I sent her a text. Hey Sandra, I just got out of my interview. That's a story for a different day. Want to meet up after work? She was so excited about this, just to have the two of us meet up, take a city bus, and grab dinner together. Too bad it was going to be an experience just trying to get to me. She got off work and figured the city isn't that complicated. I'll just take the subway. Easy. Turns out, not so easy. Since they just moved, she didn't really know the subway to take. She got herself all turned around and hopped onto the wrong subway. She gets off at a random stop and searches her phone to figure out how to get to me from wherever the heck she was. The phone takes her right ways, wrong ways, this street, that street, and she couldn't find the right subway station. Hey Lexi, my phone is about to die. Before too long, her battery was down to about 5% from texting me and checking and rechecking the map, and it was getting dark. She started to panic. She asked people on the street how to get to the subway. One man told her it was this way. She goes up that way so many blocks without seeing a single subway stop. She starts to question if he meant the other way. She finds a pizza guy walking. Yo, Pronto! And he's nice enough to walk her, in the total opposite direction by the way, to the subway stop. Seriously, Mr. Pizza Guy, thank you. She was so grateful, you have no idea. She finally makes it to where I am, but she doesn't see me. She's walking up the sidewalk and is about to make a right turn. And I was across the street, sitting at a bench facing the opposite direction. I don't know how to explain this, but at that exact moment, for whatever reason, I turned around and saw her just before she made the right turn and waved my arms like a lunatic crossing the street. As soon as I got to her, she nearly burst into tears, grabbed me in a hug, and spoke in pure gibberish for a full minute. I think for the most part it meant, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I found you. I was so lost. It was so dark. I'm so sad. I'm so hungry. I walk her back to the bench where I was sitting before and hand her a bag of chips that I bought for us to share on the bus. You know, I tell her, right where you're sitting, I met a unicorn guy. She stares up at me, eyes wide, eating her chips and trying to relax, and she repeats, a unicorn guy? Confused, as she should be. I launch into the most mythical retelling of what I did that day that I could come up with. A true fairy tale where nothing much happens that would be a very good distraction for her. After my interview that day, long story, another time, I did something I never do. I looked outside and decided I liked being outside that day. It was pretty, I didn't want to go home yet, so I took the ferry and went to the city, tour style. Meaning, I stood out on the railing so I can see the water, and the skyscrapers in the distance, and the Statue of Liberty. It was the most New York experience I've had in a long time. I took about 1 million pictures and videos on the ferry. Even when I got off the ferry, I was in no hurry to go anywhere. I never go into the city unless I have an errand or job interview. So it was nice just to be there and not be in a hurry. I walked around, saw places I usually wouldn't notice, with my face in the phone trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. I sat in the park and read my book for ages. It was amazing. I sent Sandra the text, asking if she wanted to meet up after work. She said, yes, please. So I sauntered my way over to the train stop, near where we would take the bus later, and sat at the bench. I was people watching, read my book some more, armed with snacks from the deli for later. After I'm sitting at the bench for at least 20 minutes, a guy sits down at the other end of the bench. I don't look up. I'm not usually one for small talk with strangers. Some time goes by and my leg starts to fall asleep, so I shift over and lean to the other leg. I must have moved just enough for the guy to notice. He looks up suddenly and tells me, very calmly but shockingly quickly, "Hi, I wasn't going to say anything, but I noticed you sit down just now, and I thought maybe I should say something since you're sitting here too." I stare for a second. First of all, I was first here, but that didn't really seem to matter, so I didn't say anything. So I decided to go along with it and act like, sure, this is what you do when people sit next to you, I guess. I didn't get a very good look at him until that moment, but it was pretty clear to me this guy was a unicorn. He was tall, probably worked out, he had a long mohawk brushed to one side of his head, bright blue eyes. I'm not the unicorn type, but it was still a little shocking to me that this unicorn would randomly show up in real life and not on a Hollywood movie or TV show. This alone would have been a little surreal to me, but that was before we started talking. I kid you not, in the span of maybe 5 minutes, this man told me a good chunk of his life story. I learned he was a star football player in high school, how now he's a successful young realtor with very short hours and gets to spend most of his day doing whatever he wants in the city. At the same time, he was getting internet modeling jobs on Instagram on the side. He recently moved in the city into a beautiful new apartment and he's very happy. What's funny about this was, I didn't once question if he was trying to impress me. This was just true. I sensed it. I didn't think a single thing he was saying was a lie. And even if I did, it didn't take long for him to take out his phone and show me his Instagram page, which pretty quickly proved he was telling the truth about at least the modeling part. And I didn't even ask for that. So he asked me, after telling me his entire life story, what I do. Now at this point, I was technically unemployed and looking for work for a long time. I had no idea what that interview from earlier was going to turn out like, and my confidence in my abilities as an artist was hitting bottom by then. But for some reason, in front of this unicorn, I was somehow able to say, with confidence, I'm an artist. This was the first time I think I've said that sentence since college. Like I hadn't earned it yet. The unicorn was very interested, and I showed him some of my work on my phone. We scrolled through each other's pages when he looked up at the sky dramatically and turned to me to say, I have to go now. I have to go see the sunset, in all seriousness. In a way, only a unicorn could ever get away with that. It was such a spontaneous, unexpected thing to say that I just stared and told him, yeah, you better go. Before it's too late, the sun's gonna go down. He nodded, completely serious still. Thank you for understanding. And then he just galloped away, mane whipping in the wind, literally off into the sunset. My takeaway here is, if you want to find a unicorn person in New York, it helps to be very calm and relaxed, like I was that day. Walking around the city, reading, not worrying about anything for a change. It definitely helped that I had no intentions of looking for a unicorn. I guess they like it better when they get to surprise you. Sparkle for a while in your presence, and then run off into the sunset, maintaining their freedom. I sat there dumbfounded as it became dark outside, and I got Sandra's text about how her phone was about to die. By the time I finished telling Sandra my story, we were only one bus stop away from home. Like time took a vacation until my fantasy story was over. And suddenly New York was normal again. If it ever was. Okay guys, that was a very strange, very short story, but hopefully it was entertaining. Give me a like if you like this kind of story, I'll make more of them, that's most of my life. And subscribe, I'm a brand new channel. And I plan to make lots more. Bye guys.